AITA for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding after she made it child-free except for her own kids. The Excel spreadsheet was still open on Lisa's laptop when I walked into her kitchen to grab water. I wasn't snooping. She'd asked me to check her email for a contractor quote while she was outside with the kids. But there it was. Tab 3 of 5. Wedding budget final. Do not share. My finger hovered over the trackpad. I should have closed it. I should have walked away. Instead, I clicked. Line item 38 read, Childcare services, exclude family, $2,800. Line item 39, notification letters, CF policy, printed. CF policy, child-free policy. The policy she'd announced 3 weeks ago at Sunday dinner. The one that banned every child except her twin daughters from attending her wedding to David next summer. The policy that excluded my 3-year-old son, Oliver. The policy she'd sworn was David's family's idea, that she'd fought against, that she felt terrible about. I scrolled down. The budget was dated 4 months earlier, 2 months before David even proposed. My chest felt tight. My phone buzzed. Lisa's text. Can you check if Mom emailed back about alterations? I stared at that line again. Notification letters, printed, past tense. I opened her email, searched child-free. 53 results. I'd been helping Lisa plan this wedding for 6 months when I found that spreadsheet. Not just helping, I'd offered to contribute $15,000 toward her dream venue after she'd broken down crying one night, saying she and David couldn't afford the Riverside estate without going into debt. Lisa was my only sibling. After our dad died when I was 19 and she was 23, we'd become each other's anchors. She'd helped me through college. I'd been there when her ex-husband walked out. When my wife Natalie and I had Oliver, Lisa was in the delivery room. She was his godmother. We had Sunday dinners together every week without fail. Our kids, well, Oliver and her twins, Sophia and Zoe, were inseparable. The girls called him Baby Ollie, even though he was only a year younger. They had playdates every Wednesday. Lisa had been there when Oliver took his first steps, and now I was looking at a budget line that proved she'd planned to exclude him from her wedding before David had even proposed, before she'd ever mentioned going child-free, before she'd sat at my dining room table with tears in her eyes, apologizing, saying David's family was traditional and his mother had demanded it. My hands started shaking. I took a screenshot, then another. Then I went through her sent emails. The first email was to a wedding planner named Deborah Sinclair, dated January 18th, 9 days after David proposed. We're thinking of going child-free for the reception, but I have twin 7-year-olds. What do other brides do? Deborah's response suggested a flower girl's exception that many venues permitted. Lisa's reply, same day. Perfect. Can we include it in the contract language? I kept scrolling. February 2nd, email to the Riverside estate. Confirming child-free policy for all guests, exception for immediate wedding party children only. February 14th, email to her maid of honor, Vanessa Pritchard, with a draft invitation. The RSVP card had 2 options, attending, adults only, and regretfully declining. Vanessa had written back, love it, but your brother has that cute little boy, right? Is he in the wedding party? Lisa's response made my stomach drop. We're keeping the wedding party small, just you and David's brother as MOH and best man. I'll handle the family stuff. Trust me, it's easier to have a blanket rule than deal with hurt feelings about who gets exceptions. I screenshot everything. My phone storage was filling up. Outside, I could hear Lisa laughing with the kids in the backyard. The sprinkler was running. It was a Saturday in late June, temperature pushing 90 degrees. Normal. Everything was supposed to be normal. I closed the laptop exactly how I'd found it. Walked outside. Lisa was spraying the girls with the hose while Oliver chased after them in his little swim trunks, squealing. She saw me and smiled. That same smile I'd trusted my entire life. Did you find Mom's email? She called. Yeah, I said. My voice sounded far away. She said the alterations look good. Lisa gave me a thumbs up and turned back to the kids. I sat down on her patio chair and watched my son play with his cousins, or the girls he thought were his cousins, in the yard of a woman who'd been planning to exclude him from the biggest family event in years while crying to my face about having no choice. Sophia ran over to me, dripping wet. Uncle Nathan, come play. I forced a smile. Maybe in a minute, sweetie. She ran back. Nathan. That was my name. Nathan Cross. 31 years old, software engineer, married to Natalie for 6 years, father to Oliver James Cross, age 3. Reliable, steady Nathan, who always helped family, who'd paid for his sister's divorce lawyer, who'd volunteered $15,000 he'd been saving for a home renovation because family came first. I pulled out my phone and looked at the screenshots again. Line item 63. Brother's contribution, $15,000. Listed under secured funding, not potential or pending. Secured, like it was already hers. I didn't confront Lisa that day. I went home and told Natalie everything, showed her the screenshots, watched her face cycle through disbelief, anger, and something worse, a kind of sad recognition, like she'd suspected something like this all along but never wanted to say it. She's been lying to you for months, Natalie said quietly. We were in our bedroom. Oliver was napping. She sat right here, Nathan, in our living room, crying about David's mother's demands, and it was her idea the whole time. I kept thinking about the timeline. Lisa had started planning the child-free policy before David proposed. That meant she'd been thinking about it while playing with Oliver, while texting me photos of the twins with him, while accepting my offer to help pay for the wedding. "What are you going to do?" Natalie asked. I didn't know yet. Part of me wanted to call Lisa immediately, confront her, demand an explanation. But another part of me, the part that had learned to be careful after watching my sister manipulate her way through her divorce, knew that confrontation without a plan was useless. Lisa was good at talking her way out of things. She'd twist it somehow, make me the bad guy for snooping, for not understanding her position, for making her wedding about me. Monday morning, I called my lawyer. Not a family lawyer, my business attorney, Richard Kowalski, who'd helped me with contract negotiations for my company. "Rich, I need advice on something personal," I said. "If I promised financial support for an event, but it was verbal only, and the other party lied about material facts that influenced my decision, can I withdraw the support?" There was a pause. "Is this about a business deal?" "Family wedding," I said. "My sister's. I offered $15,000. Found out she's been lying about major aspects of the event. No written agreement, just texts where I said I'd help cover the venue." Rich thought for a moment. "Verbal agreements can be binding, but if you can prove fraudulent misrepresentation or that your agreement was based on false pretenses, you'd have grounds to withdraw. What did she lie about?" I explained the child-free policy, the timeline, the emails. Rich was quiet. "Nathan, legally, you're probably clear to pull out. Ethically, that's between you and your conscience. But from a pure contract standpoint, if she materially misrepresented the nature of the event you were funding, your offer was based on false information. You can withdraw." "What if she sues me?" "For what? A verbal promise? She'd have to prove detrimental reliance, that she incurred costs specifically because of your promise that she can't recover. Even then, it's shaky." I spent that week gathering evidence. I forwarded myself all the screenshots from Lisa's laptop. I went through my own text messages with her, documenting every time she'd mentioned the child-free policy and blamed it on David's family. June 9th. "David's mom is being so difficult about the guest list. She wants it adults only. I told her that's crazy, but she's paying for the rehearsal dinner, so we have to compromise somewhere." June 16th. "I feel terrible about Oliver not being there. David's family is just really traditional. I tried to fight for an exception, but his mother put her foot down." June 23rd. "Can we not mention the kid thing at Sunday dinner? I don't want to upset Mom, and I'm already stressed enough about this wedding." Every single message was a lie. I documented it all in a folder labeled Lisa Wedding Evidence. Then I did something I'm not proud of but don't regret. I called Vanessa Pritchard. I'd met Vanessa at a few family events. She was Lisa's college roommate, now a pediatric nurse in Seattle. We weren't close, but we followed each other on social media. I messaged her on Instagram. "Hey Vanessa, quick question about Lisa's wedding. I'm trying to help coordinate some family stuff. Do you remember when she first mentioned going child-free? Trying to get my timeline straight?" Vanessa responded within an hour. "Oh yeah, that was early on, like right after David proposed. She wanted to make sure the vibe was sophisticated, you know? Adult-focused. Why?" I screenshot that too. "Just coordinating with some relatives. Thanks." Then I did the same with two of Lisa's other friends who I knew were involved in wedding planning. Asked casual questions. "When did Lisa decide on the venue? When did the child-free thing come up?" Collected their responses. Built a timeline. By Friday, I had a complete picture. Lisa had decided on a child-free wedding, exception only for her own children, within 2 weeks of getting engaged. She'd researched venues that would accommodate this policy. She'd drafted invitation language. She'd budgeted for it. And then, 3 months later, she'd come to me asking for money, crying about compromises she had to make, lies about in-laws who didn't exist. David's mother, I learned from a casual question to David himself at a barbecue, lived in Arizona and had offered to pay for whatever they needed. "Mom's just happy I'm finally settling down," David had said, flipping burgers. "She keeps offering to cover more stuff, but Lisa wants to keep it manageable." No demands, no traditional family pressure, just Lisa's narrative. The confrontation happened on Sunday, July 9th. It wasn't planned. I'd been waiting for the right moment, building my case, but Lisa forced my hand. We were at Mom's house for Sunday dinner. Oliver was playing in the living room with Sophia and Zoe. Mom was in the kitchen. Lisa pulled me aside into the hallway. "Hey, I need to finalize the venue payment this week," she said. "Can you Venmo me your contribution by Thursday? They need the full amount to lock in the date for next summer." She said it so casually, like it was already settled. Like $15,000 was just a formality. I looked at my sister. Really looked at her. Same dark hair as mine, same gray eyes, same sharp chin we got from Dad. 35 years old, elementary school teacher, mother of twins, person I'd trusted more than almost anyone. "I'm not contributing to the wedding," I said. Her face went blank. "What?" "I'm not giving you the $15,000. I'm withdrawing my offer." Lisa laughed, but it sounded wrong. "Nathan, you can't just... We already budgeted for it. I told the venue coordinator. The payment is due Thursday." "Then you'll need to find another way to cover it," I said. Because I'm not funding a wedding that excludes my son based on lies you've been telling for months. The color drained from her face. For just a second, I saw something flicker there. Recognition, maybe, or calculation. Then her expression shifted to confusion. What are you talking about? I explained about David's family. Stop, I cut her off. I know about the emails, Lisa. I know you planned the child-free policy before David even proposed. I know you told your wedding planner and your friends and the venue that you wanted it adults only except for your kids. I know you budgeted for notification letters 4 months ago. I know there was never any pressure from David's family because his mother offered to pay for whatever you wanted and you turned her down to keep the wedding manageable. Lisa's mouth opened, closed. You went through my personal emails? Her voice was rising. Mom appeared in the kitchen doorway. What's going on? Nathan is refusing to pay for my wedding because of the child-free policy, Lisa said quickly, pivoting. Even though I explained it wasn't my choice. That's not, I started. He went through my private laptop, Lisa continued. He invaded my privacy, and now he's using it as an excuse to back out of his commitment. Mom looked between us, confused. I pulled out my phone. I wasn't snooping. Your laptop was open when I was checking your email like you asked. The budget was right there. But yes, after I saw that you'd been planning to exclude Oliver for months while lying to my face about it, I documented the timeline. I turned to Mom. She's been telling us this was David's family's demand, that she fought against it, that she feels terrible. But she planned it from the beginning, before David proposed. It was always her choice. Mom's face did something complicated. Lisa, is that true? It's my wedding. Lisa's voice cracked. I get to decide what kind of event I want. And yes, I wanted an elegant, adult-focused reception. That's not a crime. But I knew Nathan would make it all about himself if I said that, so I... She stopped. The silence was devastating. So you lied, I finished. For months, while accepting my money, while letting Oliver play with your kids, while watching my wife plan what to wear to a wedding that you knew he wasn't invited to. He's 3 years old, Lisa shouted. He won't even remember it. You're destroying my wedding over a toddler who won't remember. The kids had stopped playing. I could see Oliver's little face peeking around the corner, scared by the yelling. I walked over and picked him up. He buried his face in my shoulder. We're leaving, I said to Natalie, who'd been watching from the living room, her expression carefully neutral. To Mom, I said, I'm sorry this is happening at your house, but I'm not funding this wedding. If Lisa wants to explain to you why, she can show you the emails herself. I carried Oliver to the car, strapped him into his car seat. He was quiet, his little bottom lip trembling. Daddy, why was Aunt Lisa yelling? He asked. Aunt Lisa is stressed about grown-up stuff, I said, keeping my voice steady. It's not about you, buddy. You didn't do anything wrong. Natalie got in the passenger seat. Her hands were shaking. She didn't even deny it, she said. Once you laid out the evidence, she just went straight to defending herself. No apology, no acknowledgement that she lied. I started the car. My phone was already buzzing. Lisa calling. I declined. She called again. Declined again. Then a text. You just humiliated me in front of Mom. Do you have any idea what you've done? Another text. I need that money, Nathan. The venue payment is Thursday. You can't do this to me. Another. Fine. Don't come to the wedding. Don't bring Oliver. But you owe me that money. You promised. If this story keeps your interest, please subscribe to get more stories like this. I didn't respond. That night, I drafted an email to Lisa with Rich Kowalski CC'd. It was clinical, factual, and final. Lisa, as discussed, I am formally withdrawing my offer to contribute $15,000 to your wedding expenses. My offer was made in good faith based on your representation that the child-free policy was a requirement from David's family that you opposed. I have since discovered through documented evidence that this representation was false and that you planned and implemented the child-free policy independently before ever discussing it with me. As my offer was based on materially false information, I am exercising my right to withdraw it. I wish you well with your wedding planning. Nathan. I attached a PDF with a timeline of her emails, my texts with her, and the budget screenshot showing the policy was planned months in advance. Sent it at 11:47 p.m. Her response came at 6:23 a.m. You're a lawyer now? Threatening me with formal emails? You're destroying our relationship over a policy that doesn't even affect you. Oliver can stay with a sitter for one evening. This is insane. I didn't respond, but I did forward the entire email chain to Mom with a simple note. For context. By Monday morning, my phone was on fire. Mom called first. Nathan, I need you to explain what's happening. Lisa is beside herself. She says you're trying to ruin her wedding. I walked Mom through everything. The timeline, the emails, the budget, the lies. I sent her the evidence folder. There was a long silence when I finished. I didn't know it had gotten this bad, Mom said finally. What do you mean this bad? I asked. Another pause. Lisa's always been particular about things, about control. After the divorce, I thought she was getting better, but Nathan, she told me 3 weeks ago that you'd offered to pay for the entire venue as a gift. $15,000 covered maybe 60%. She said you'd insisted on covering all of it. My blood went cold. I never said that. I offered to contribute 15 toward the venue. That was it. She showed me a text, Mom said. Something about, "Don't worry about the venue, I've got you covered." I pulled up my text with Lisa, found the message from April. I'd written, "Don't worry about the venue if money's tight. I can contribute $15,000 to help cover it. Family's important." Not, "I've got you covered." Contribute, not cover. Mom, send me a screenshot of what she showed you. The image came through 2 minutes later. It was my text, but cropped. Everything after, "I've got you covered," was cut off. The 15,000 specification, gone. The word, contribute, a mile gone. I felt sick. She edited the screenshot, I said. The full text says I'd contribute 15,000. She cropped it to make it look like I promised to pay for everything. Mom was quiet for a long time. "I'm looking at the full message now," she finally said. "In the thread you sent me. Nathan, I'm so sorry. I believed her." "She's been manipulating both of us," I said. "The question is, who else has she lied to?" That question was answered within hours. Vanessa Pritchard called me directly. "Nathan, I just got off the phone with Lisa. She says you're backing out of paying for her entire wedding because Oliver can't come. She's asking if I can help cover some costs. Is that true?" I explained the situation. Sent Vanessa the evidence folder. Her response was immediate. "Oh my God. She told me you were being a groomzilla, that you'd promised to fund the whole thing as your gift to her, and we're now having buyer's remorse. She's been asking 3 other bridesmaids for money too." That's when I realized the scope of what Lisa had done. She hadn't just lied to me about the child-free policy. She'd lied to Mom about my financial commitment. She'd lied to her friends about my behavior. She was running a coordinated campaign to paint me as the villain while extracting money from everyone around her. I started calling people, David first. "Hey man, quick question. What did Lisa tell you about my contribution to the wedding?" David sounded confused. "That you offered to help with costs. She mentioned 15,000 for the venue. Why? Did she say I promised to pay for the entire venue?" "No," David said slowly. "Just that you were contributing. Is something wrong?" At least she'd been honest with her fiancé. That was something. "Can I ask you something else? The child-free policy? Lisa told me it was your family's requirement." David laughed. "What?" "No, that was all Lisa. She wanted an upscale vibe. My mom actually asked if the twins' cousins could come, and Lisa said she wanted to keep it adults only, except for Sophia and Zoe since they're in the wedding party. Why would she say it was my family's idea?" I explained everything, sent him the evidence folder. The silence on the other end of the line lasted almost 30 seconds. "I need to call you back," David said, and hung up. An hour later, my phone rang. David again. "I just talked to Lisa. She admits she lied about my family demanding the child-free policy. She says she was trying to avoid conflict with you because she knew you'd be upset about Oliver. She thought if it came from my family, you'd accept it better." "And the money?" I asked. "She says you offered 15,000 and she's holding you to it. That the rest, the stuff about promising to cover everything, was a misunderstanding with your mom." "A misunderstanding. Not a lie. Not manipulation. A misunderstanding." "David, she cropped my text message to make it look like I'd promised more than I did. That's not a misunderstanding. That's fraud." "I know," David said quietly. "I know. Look, I'm not getting in the middle of this. It's between you two. But for what it's worth, I told her she needs to apologize to you. Really apologize. And if you don't want to contribute anymore, I don't blame you." "Are you still going through with the wedding?" I asked. There was a long pause. "I love Lisa," David said, "but I'm not loving what I'm seeing right now. We're going to talk. Really talk. I'll let you know." He hung up. That conversation happened on a Monday. By Wednesday, Lisa's entire social circle knew the full story. Not from me. I'd only shared the evidence folder with the people she'd lied to directly. But Vanessa had apparently shown it to the other bridesmaids, who'd shown it to their partners, who'd posted vague book messages about people who lie to get money and manipulation disguised as wedding planning. The court of public opinion was in session. Thursday morning, the day the venue payment was due, Lisa called me from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer. "Nathan, please. I need to talk to you." Her voice sounded wrecked. "I'm listening," I said. "I messed up. I know I messed up. I shouldn't have lied about David's family. I shouldn't have edited that text to Mom. I was just so stressed about money and I thought if people knew it was my choice, they'd judge me and I—" She stopped. I could hear her breathing, shaky and uneven. "I can't afford the venue without your contribution. They're charging a cancellation fee if I don't pay today. $8,000. I don't have it. David and I combined don't have it. If we cancel, we lose everything." "You should have thought about that before you lied to me for 5 months," I said. "Please." The word came out as a sob. "I know I don't deserve it. I know I hurt you. But please, Nathan, I'll apologize to everyone. I'll admit it was my choice. I'll uninvite fewer people to reduce costs so Oliver can come. Whatever you want. Please don't let me lose everything over this." I took a breath. Thought about my dad, who'd taught us that family helped family no matter what. Thought about Oliver, who loved his cousins. Thought about the version of Lisa I'd believed in, the sister who'd helped me through college and held my son in the delivery room. Then I thought about the spreadsheet. Line item 38. The emails dated months before she'd cried in my living room. The cropped text message. The lies to Vanessa, to Mom, to me. Lisa, I want to help you. I really do. But I can't enable this. Enable what? Her voice hardened. I made a mistake. I'm trying to fix it. You made dozens of calculated decisions over 5 months, I said. You planned this. You budgeted for it. You lied to everyone who loved you to get what you wanted. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. And the only reason you're apologizing now is because you got caught and you need money. So that's it? Lisa's voice was cold now. You're just going to let me fail? Let my wedding get canceled? Destroy my relationship with David and humiliate me in front of everyone I know? I'm not doing any of that, I said quietly. You did it to yourself. I'm just declining to fund it. She hung up. The venue payment didn't go through. I know because Vanessa texted me Friday morning. Lisa's wedding is postponed. She sent a message to the bridal party saying, due to unforeseen financial circumstances and family conflicts, they're pushing it to next year. Is she blaming you? I didn't respond. I didn't need to. By Friday afternoon, the whole story was out. Someone, I never found out who, had posted the evidence folder to a private wedding planning group Lisa was part of. Screenshots of her budget, her emails, the timeline. The response was brutal. Comments ranged from financial abuse to narcissistic manipulation to, this is why you don't mix family and money. Lisa's friend count on social media dropped by 80 people in 3 days. The texts started Saturday. Lisa's friends, people I barely knew, messaging me. Some were sympathetic. You did the right thing. Others were angry. She made a mistake, but you destroyed her over it. A few were cruel. Your sister is crying herself to sleep and you don't even care. What kind of brother are you? I blocked most of them. The ones I responded to, I sent the evidence folder. After that, the angry messages stopped. Sunday dinner at Mom's house was canceled. Mom called both of us separately. To me, she said, I understand why you did what you did. But Lisa is my daughter too. I need to support her right now. Can we skip this week? I agreed. Natalie and I took Oliver to the park instead. He asked about Sophia and Zoe. Why haven't we seen them? He asked, hanging from the monkey bars. Aunt Lisa is busy with grown-up stuff, I said. We'll see them soon. I didn't know if that was true. 2 weeks later, David called me. I wanted to give you an update, he said. Lisa and I are in couples counseling. Our therapist, Dr. Monica Alvarez, has been helping us work through what happened. Lisa's dealing with some control issues, some deep-seated stuff from her divorce and childhood. It doesn't excuse what she did, but it explains it. Are you still getting married? I asked. Eventually, David said. We postponed the wedding. We're going to redo the whole thing. Smaller, more intimate, within our actual budget. And yes, before you ask, Oliver is invited. All kids are invited. It was wrong to exclude them. Lisa knows that now. Did she ask you to call me? I said. No, David replied. She's too ashamed. But I wanted you to know we're working on it. And I wanted to say thank you. For what? For not just going along with it, David said. I didn't know how bad the lying had gotten. If you'd just paid the $15,000 and stayed quiet, I might have married her without ever seeing this side of her. You did me a favor. A really painful, expensive favor, but a favor. I didn't know what to say to that. 3 months after the confrontation, in October, Lisa sent me a letter. Not an email, not a text. A handwritten letter, 6 pages long, delivered to my house. I almost threw it away without reading it. Natalie convinced me to at least open it. The letter was an apology, a real one. She acknowledged every lie, explained her reasoning, not to justify it, but to help me understand. She wrote about how after her divorce, she'd become obsessed with control, with crafting the perfect image, with making sure everyone saw her life as successful and beautiful. The child-free wedding was part of that image, sophisticated, elegant, adult. But she knew I wouldn't accept that reasoning, so she'd built an elaborate fiction instead. She wrote about therapy, about Dr. Alvarez helping her see the pattern of manipulation she'd fallen into, about realizing she'd almost destroyed her relationship with David, with me, with Mom, with her friends, all to maintain an image that nobody cared about except her. The last page was the hardest to read. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to come to my wedding whenever we finally have it. I don't expect you to trust me again. I just need you to know that I see what I did now. I see how much I hurt you. I see how I used your love for me as a weapon. I see how I risked Oliver's relationship with his cousins, your relationship with Mom, everything that mattered, because I was too afraid to just be honest about wanting a child-free wedding. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm working on being someone worthy of your forgiveness, even if that forgiveness never comes. Love, Lisa. I read it 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer and didn't respond. 4 weeks later, Thanksgiving, Mom called to ask if we'd come to dinner. Will Lisa be there? I asked. Yes, Mom said. But Nathan, she's different. Really different. She's been in therapy. She and David are working on things. Could you give her a chance? I discussed it with Natalie. She was hesitant. What if she hasn't changed? What if this is just another manipulation? Then we leave, I said. But if there's any chance she's genuine, I want Oliver to have his aunt and cousins back. He asks about them constantly. We went. Lisa and I barely spoke during dinner. It was awkward, stilted, painful. But I watched her with the kids, watched how she made sure Oliver got equal attention as the twins, how she asked him about his new daycare, how she didn't push, didn't demand forgiveness, didn't make it about her feelings. At the end of the night, as we were leaving, she stopped me at the door. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I know you didn't have to." "The letter helped," I said. "I meant every word," she said. "I know you don't believe me yet. That's okay. I'll show you." She has been showing me. Slowly. It's been 14 months since the confrontation. Lisa and David got married in a small ceremony last month. 20 guests, both sets of parents, David's brother, Vanessa, me, Natalie, and Oliver, the twins, 2 of David's cousins and their kids. That was it. No elaborate venue, no child-free policy, no budget spreadsheets or notification letters, just family. Oliver was the ring bearer. He took it very seriously, walking down the makeshift aisle in Mom's backyard with the pillow held out in front of him like it contained the crown jewels. Sophia and Zoe were flower girls. The ceremony lasted 15 minutes. The reception was potluck in Mom's living room. Lisa and I still aren't back to where we were. I don't know if we ever will be. But we're talking. We have Sunday dinners again sometimes. The kids play together. She's working with Dr. Alvarez on rebuilding trust. She's been honest about money, about her feelings, about her struggles with control. Last week, she asked if Natalie and I wanted to have coffee, just the adults. She wanted to discuss boundaries. "I realize I never asked what you needed from me," she said. "I just assumed things could go back to normal. But you get to decide what our relationship looks like now. What do you need?" I thought about it. "Honesty," I said. "Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when you think I'll judge you. Just tell me the truth." "I can do that," Lisa said. "And transparency. If you're struggling with money, with control, with anything, tell me. Don't hide it until it explodes." "Okay," she said. "What else?" "Time," I said. "I need time to trust you again." She nodded. "That's fair. Take all the time you need." We're getting there. Slowly. Some days I look at her and see my sister, the person who helped me through Dad's death and was there when Oliver was born. Other days I see the spreadsheet, line item 38, and feel that same stomach-dropping betrayal. Trust is rebuilt in moments, in honesty, in consistency, in showing up even when it's uncomfortable. Lisa is doing that work. I'm doing that work. We're both trying. The wedding that almost destroyed our family ended up saving it in a strange way. It forced everything into the open. It made Lisa face her patterns. It made me set boundaries I should have set years ago. It wasn't the elegant, sophisticated event she'd planned, but it was real. And maybe that's better. Oliver asks sometimes why there was such a long time when we didn't see Aunt Lisa. "Grown-ups sometimes disagree about important things," I tell him, "but we worked it out. That's what family does." He seems satisfied with that answer. Kids are resilient that way. They forgive easily. They move forward. Adults carry grudges, harbor resentments, build walls, but we can learn from them. We can choose to rebuild. I never gave Lisa the $15,000. She never asked again. The small wedding they had cost less than $3,000 total. They're happy. David tells me they're stronger for having gone through it. Mom is relieved we're talking again. Natalie still watches Lisa carefully, waiting for signs of the manipulation to return, but she's warming up slowly. And me? I'm learning to trust my sister again while remembering the lesson she taught me. Love doesn't mean blind faith. Family doesn't mean accepting lies. Support doesn't mean funding someone's carefully crafted illusion. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no. Sometimes family means letting someone face the consequences of their choices. Sometimes trust has to be earned back, piece by piece, through honesty and time. The wedding that never happened taught me more than the one that did. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure to subscribe and like to not miss the next story.